from where we sit is gorgeous, even if we don't fit inside your little portrait. The big picture is enormous, so we don't even have to fit. We after it, true purpose, yeah, we have to get. We mastered it, reporting it live from Black Pew, discussing politics, the culture, and laughing at you. Cause you don't understand the viewpoint, don't mean you up by a few points. You just ain't hip to these new joints we on. The world says to follow they pitch, we set the tone, then we knock it over the fence. Oh yes, it's gone. Them haters screaming loud from the bench. They get the bat and try to copy technique, but they miss the point that I mentioned earlier. I see that you observing the way I strangle this beat. Oh yeah, I'm a murderer. Enough of me, let's get back to this gorgeous view. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Welcome to the Black Pew.
I'm puzzling right now.
I'm always doing it.
This is one I got at Atlanta though. It's beautiful though. It's beautiful.
I do 1,000 pieces because it keeps my mind going, and you know.
This was a 500.
I picked it up in a
500.
I picked it up during the pandemic.
Have you tried Thomas Kincaid? He's a have you done any of his puzzles?
I've been seeing them, but
really
I don't
painter,
I only do black puzzles.
Oh, I'll take it.
Black
Because this stuff is
queens.
mostly
This is
like
a black one.
Black queens, black, you know.
I'll take that.
I got this
And
from
then,
Atlanta.
you know,
His puzzles
African
are
deserts.
Do you keep them, or
lions.
do you like,
I keep them. I've lost a couple.
or do you keep them like put together and just put them up?
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So like, I got to get some puzzle glue, but so what I do is I'm very, very like meticulous about it. So I do it in sections. When you do 1,000 piece or more, they come with the grid on the bag, and so it's all alphabetical. So you can section it out, and so but it's still hard because you still have to match everything out. Right. And so I do it by sections of alphabets first, and then I go through the process of I don't move to the next section until I finish one. And then I go through that process. Once I finish all the sections, I just put them all together. And so it probably takes me for 1,000 if I'm dedicated, 1,000 piece hours wise, maybe 20, 30 hours, maybe.
That's not bad.
So
we have puzzles at the office. The doctors come in and they
play with them.
Just decompress. We got Jenga. That's what they do. Yeah. But we had one that was all pencils. And they're just like multiple pencils. Just it was really difficult. Then we had a Dalmatians one, 101 Dalmatians, only white and black dots. We stopped after 4 weeks. We were like, no, it's impossible.
Yeah, because you're trying to find all the patterns now at this point, and none of them
exactly.
are matching up.
Yeah, that's why I don't look at the front.
You just look at the shapes.
Yeah, because it drives you crazy, and you start to be like, so it's so funny, like
because you be looking at that.
So when how I do the puzzle is because there's always two types of shapes. There's I call it the horizontal outie and then the vertical outie. You know,
okay.
And so they usually have the two round pieces on the end, and then the loops right there. That's the that's the horizontal, and then the vertical is the opposite way. And so I separate all those, and I put them together. And then when you look at them, they all have different makeups and shapes. And so then as I'm putting together, I'm just looking, and I'm like, oh, you know, that's a horizontal outie. And so I'll look at it, and then sometimes you have like the 3 round, you know, and so I'll just continue to look at it, and I just do it like that. And then so kind of makes it easier for me. I've kind of it's so funny because I was just doing the puzzle the other day, and I was doing that, and I was like, damn, you're good at this. And I'm just like grabbing.
I cracked the code. I cracked the code.
And, you know, it's crazy.
No, it's no. I like puzzling only if I'm doing it with other people.
We should do one for the holiday.
It's a me thing.
I can see being a family thing.
Yeah, that's great.
No.
You are tuned into the Black Pew podcast, so we are talking about puzzles all day, and we're talking about puzzles. And
I even did a romantic gesture one time. Right? No, seriously. Me and this girl I was dating, we went to a Toby concert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like a big thing.
Because we love Toby.
And so we went and we had went to a couple of his concerts before that, and this was like the Pink Tour. This was right after Fat had the baby, and so it was like a big thing, and they did a big event, and it was I think it was the Showbox. That's when he did the big one. And so I took the ticket and got it made into a 500-piece puzzle because it was easy.
Oh, that's dope.
How
And,
sweet.
yeah, and
Yes. That is nice.
Okay.
I gotta get the rest of the story.
Now I know. Go ahead. Don't stop now.
Did they like
Stop
it?
now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
She couldn't finish it, so she couldn't go to the concert.
We did it together. Like it wasn't like in a day or whatever. You know, every time we did it together to complete it, and you know, it had marked the date of the concert and stuff.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, that's dope.
Why didn't
nice.
that work out with her? I think I would have tried to make it after that.
There
Like,
you go, right?
I tried to make this work a little harder. That's just me though.
The
Like,
puzzle and everything. Creative.
See, that's a
But
good.
everybody doesn't appreciate everything. that you do.
That's true.
I
Why?
didn't all tickled.
Well, because you would think that would be like solidifying something for a long time, but
I'm
at the
trying
same.
to sit this one out.
But here's the thing. That's the thing about it. Like relationships, you can have something that's like monumental, and then y'all could split up weeks later or days later or something like that. It could be just not be the right situation.
I mean, this
I
kind
hear
of
you.
it kind
You're
of
right.
segue in what we're gonna talk to, because you know, like you do have a situation where it's like, hey, you think everything is good, and
Yeah.
you know, you guys are meant to be, and so I believe, like, I think in a lot of relationships, like men, you know, once you get with a woman, you stop like pursuing her, you know, and I think when you get with one that you really feel like you can see a future with, you continue to pursue
constant.
her.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
constant pursuit. And sometimes, you know, like their relationships are sometimes just learning experiences, you know, and you could learn how to, you know, really invest into a relationship and think that you're doing it with the right person, and it ends up being the wrong person. And sometimes people can take that and say, hey, I can apply this when I go into the next one.
Sure. Right.
Or you can just go, you know, bat crazy, and then, you know,
Slip out.
yeah.
It's
And-
the
and
energy.
it makes
It's the
it a
energy
whole
of how
situation.
much you pursue each other. It has to. It's both. It's give
It's a
and
both,
take.
it's a both way
Both
thing.
of you pursuing each other.
And how you're pursuing each other, because
Right.
Yeah.
well, you know, one thing I did learn in certain relationships, like one person can be like intentional and the other person can just be lustful.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and they can just see you for what you are, and you know, you make them feel good when you sleep with them and all that type of stuff, but they don't see you more than just that, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And they try to, but they can't,
Right.
you know. And you may be more intentional than that, and it just doesn't match up. And so there's always going to become conflict between the two.
Yeah.
You know.
There. Absolutely been there, because I'm usually the more intentional partner, and so I usually get caught up on the end where I'm like, oh, so you just don't look at nothing. You just don't see nothing, never. That's like when you said that, I was like, oh, that's so sweet, because that's such a thoughtful something. But some people just ain't. They just won't pay attention. They're not as intentional, is a good word. So.
I understand that completely, because before I had a life-altering event where I was taking like fat burners as an energy source, and it caused me to have like heart arrhythmia, and I thought I was done after that. And I made me look at my life up to that point, like I'm not like, and at that point, I'm not like how I was back then.
Right.
I was a womanizer. I wasn't good,
We all go through it. 'Cause let me tell you something.
and that made me look at myself like I need to change because I'm going to die alone.
No.
So things like that can make you change real quick, and for the best.
Right. True story.
Never. I mean, I don't like you. I'm a lot happier now.
Oh, good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
But
what's
no,
important.
situations like that, experiences will definitely make you change for the better.
True.
Change how you date, change how you do all kind of things. We have topics though.
Do you
just
think
talking.
Kim looked at who she was married to and then said, I'm not going to date anybody else like that?
I
Or
think she's already dating somebody.
Yeah. 'Cause
ain't she
else.
dating
Kinda
that
like
guy?
are they still?
I
Is he
think
kind of
Pete-
like that?
I mean, I wouldn't even say Pete's like outwardly crazy, but we all know the type of comedy he does,
Right.
and it does come from a very dark place.
True.
Right.
And so, I mean, what I would say is, if anything, Pete is the version of Kanye that Kim thought she should have been with.
Yeah.
Is because I when I look at Pete Davidson, I look at somebody who's, tried to tackle his demons and, he's working with it versus, somebody who feels like, his demons help him become creative, because that's when you deal with when you deal with Kanye.
Right.
I think Pete is a palate cleanser for her.
Also, I think she did.
Because knowing how she does stuff,
Yeah.
it's not like a permanent thing. It's just like an in-between kind of relationship
I
till
found
she, gets
I
to
think she
where
moved on
needs to
too
go.
fast, and I
True.
understand that that's subjective to your people and how you heal and all that stuff. But the way she lives her life so out loud, and then she's trying to keep the divorce quiet, and all this stuff. I just feel like you reached for your rebound way too soon, and that's just personally for me.
It's like a nicotine patch.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
way too.
Yeah.
It's a Band-Aid.
But because of who they are,
Right.
I think regardless of it, whenever she makes her move, she can wait 2 years down the road.
Right.
Whoever she ends up with is going to become a big time thing. It's going to be
Absolutely.
overwhelming. It's going to be, I think, like I said, Pete Davidson is like a tier down from a Kanye. He's a very creative dude. He's good at what he does. But he also just doesn't live self-absorbed with his demons. You can tell he's been in dark places and he uses those things to be creative, but he's also worked through those things as well.
Right.
Which is why you see how he's handling the Kanye situation.
Gotcha.
Because if this was two crazy people, this would be a totally different
more.
situation.
It would be a
Yeah.
disaster.
But this is a man who's been down that road and knows how to handle it, with a man who doesn't know how to handle down this road
Right.
because he alienated anybody who really cares about it.
Right. Still think she moved on too fast. I mean, I hear all that and
Yeah.
agree. I just feel like, girl, find a seat.
Yeah.
And I don't think that.
too fast though.
They
But
all
I-
do. They're
No, I
Kardashians.
think.
That's
I
what
mean,
they
I
do.
think she's been out of this relationship longer than she admitted it.
Well,
I mean, I
think,
hear you.
I think that's true. I think that can be true. Like behind the scenes, they could have been
You could have been checked out a while.
Yep.
checked out and split up a while to where this thing came along, and it's like,
Well, that's what they said.
yeah, that
Because she said that the only reason she decided to leave is because he left. And he went to go live in Wisconsin.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right.
And he didn't respond to her and all that. And so she said,
so she said, skip
Yeah,
it.
and he's been in Wisconsin for like almost 2 years now, right?
Is it?
he's
Was it? Was Wyoming?
Wyoming. I think it's Wyoming.
Because he was doing the church, the
Yeah.
church thing
Yeah.
there. He was doing the church sermons there and whatnot.
That's true.
But I feel like they split. Yeah, I think you're right when they
I think
split
that was
up.
good then, though.
Really?
Because when he was doing the church sermon and stuff like that, he dropped the whole.
But I feel like she.
They weren't. This wasn't the turmoil. They weren't in turmoil at that time.
They weren't in turmoil out loud.
Oh, exactly.
If that be the case, but it didn't seem like it. You still see them. You've seen them out and about. You still see them doing stuff. I believed at that time. If my memory
Doesn't mean that she was emotionally there, though. I mean, couples stay together for the kids all the time. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be for the kids or for pussy, but whatever the case.
I believe she stayed for more than the kids.
Oh, yeah,
I
believe
she
that
stayed
too.
because of Kanye's mindset. And everybody
Right.
knew. I think Kim for Kanye was just an overcorrection from his mother. And losing his mother and him not having a guidance and when you're in that type of spotlight, Kim has a family, regardless
Yeah,
of how
true.
dysfunctional it is.
And it's
she
a
has
huge-
family.
it's a
She has
big family, yeah.
She has a mother, and she has a
And she's a brand.
Yep.
and she has a step parent. And
But and then that
Good way
side.
to
But
say it.
but here's the thing, that side of the family is big too.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah. She
big
got
and they're
brothers and
close
sisters over
knit.
there, too.
And
They're
so
all
I think
close.
that's what Kanye was searching for because he didn't
family.
have that. He for real.
That's
he
true.
didn't- He didn't have that because his mom was all he had.
That's right.
If you looked at, I listened to still a lot of early Kanye because he was such a genius at the time. He's still a
I
genius.
love his early music.
Regardless, he's still a genius because we could talk about the Dying to Two thing, like what he just did it's gonna revolutionize music, and a lot of people don't know that.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah,
he
The-
was looking for a support system.
The
That
stem,
stream-
She
the
had-
stem.
Yeah.
She had a support system.
A
He
lot of
didn't.
people don't think that, but regardless on whatever, Kanye made $2 million off of it,
Mm-hmm.
and even
In
then,
3
that's
days.
What a lot of
In
other
3
artists
days.
gonna see.
Right.
What a lot of artists is gonna see is he promoted and controlled his own
Product.
his own product, and got all the
The
proceeds.
proceeds.
Right.
That's
And so
true.
That's what people are gonna look at. Same thing Bootsy
Yes.
did.
But
Bootsy on a lower level than Kanye
Yeah.
made a movie, dropped it on his own platform, streamed it, made more money than they would have, and now they're still coming to him asking him for his movie.
Yeah.
And so
Well, and I only reason why I don't I think the stem player wasn't a good play because I felt like he could have sold, and I get it. It's the an artist separating themselves from a system to make your own to make your own way, but he's no longer on Rock Nation, so he's not under a label anymore. It's him by himself because this deal that long deal that he had ended in the fall, and so anyway it goes, he would have been getting all the money anyway. He could have this stem player, he sold 12,000 to get 2 million of all the proceeds, and great. But he could have packaged that with a Yeezy and made $300 a pair for each one, and could have put a download with it and would have sold a ton more. Because how many people are going to buy a pair of shoes with your music versus a stem player when all your music is already on your phone?
but how many people?
But
can
he
afford a
can
pair of
still
Yeezys?
do that.
But that's the thing. How many people are going to be able to afford a 200 stem player that only plays Kanye music?
Right.
Versus if you're going to
That's
for
the thing,
Yeezys
though.
that
That's
you
the thing,
wear.
though.
But
He
he
can
still
still
made $2 million.
sign people to his platform
True.
and make money off of them.
That's true, but
That's
are you
his
going to be able to
platform.
sign enough people to keep them away from Spotify and Apple? Especially when the thing I don't agree with
If you
was
give them,
that
if you give them a better deal than Spotify and Apple,
Yeah.
of course you can.
yeah, but true, but all at the same time, all those people have to have that stem player, and
Spotify
right
isn't
now,
that good.
but Spotify has 1 billion listeners.
That may be true, but they only getting pennies to the list.
That's true,
Right.
but
Yes,
also
but if you're
I
poaching
use it too,
people
I'm not saying.
that people will listen to on Spotify, and you're getting them to play their music on your stem player, that changes the game for it. And if you can get them more profit than a Spotify or iTunes or anybody else can give them, or more people are going to jump ship because they just seen what he did. And that's the point of it. People seen him make $2 million.
Yes.
So what they're going to do is say, if he did that, more times than not, somebody will say, I can do better. And so people are going to say,
That's what I'm saying.
We
There
can
was-
take the
on
power
your name
from iTunes.
too.
But that's what I'm saying.
Depends
There
on
were-
your name.
We're go-
Kanye's name is up there enough that he can
We're
do
getting
whatever
sidetracked
he
But I'm
wants.
saying
Right.
there-
It's supposed to be talking
Get
about him
sidetracked,
again.
though.
But what I'm
Yes.
saying, there was a better deal to do than a $200 hockey puck.
Yeah.
There was a better deal
there's
that could have
always
been
a-
done, and that could have provided more for the listener, provided more for continued growth. That's
Of
the
course,
thing I don't agree with.
Obamacare could have been better when it first came out.
That's
too.
true.
But
are
guess
what they
what?
are.
Guess what he said when he came out? He said this should be a platform that should always be improved.
True.
It's
Yeah.
not, and so
Absolutely.
the thing is that Kanye, whatever he did, may not be the best platform,
Generation
but
one never
eventually
is.
it's going to be
Eventually.
improved
2-3
to where
years it will
now
be.
somebody. What it shows somebody is say, I can take the power from everybody else and control it myself. That's what it shows. So now the next person says, how can we make this cheaper?
True.
Somebody's going to say, how can we make this
But
cheaper?
he's not. He
No,
he
it may
didn't
not
re-
be-
how
it
to
may not just be
improve it.
Kanye.
Yes.
he didn't
not-
reinvent the wheel
How
though.
to provide.
He didn't reinvent the wheel.
The
He
first
just
person who made a train.
Yes, but
the first
Rome
person-
wasn't built in one night.
The first person who made it. The first trains were running off coal.
So-
and guess what? Are they running off coal anymore?
No.
Exactly, because somebody took a system and improved it. And so what he did was show a platform and show a way. Eventually, somebody's going to improve it and make it better, make it make it more feasible to the listener.
But they've already done that.
No,
You have
somebody does it. That
you
already-
have Bandcamp. You could go on Bandcamp and make twice the money that you make on Spotify, and they don't have to download anything.
and
That's what I'm thinking. Like, that's the thing about it. What I'm trying to get at is I get he's changed people's minds and thinking something else can be done and thinking that the consumer will do something else besides what's already given to them. But what I'm saying is that he didn't reinvent the wheel. He just painted the wheel a different color and made you and charged people more for that wheel when there are like seven different wheels that do the same, that do more than his wheel does. When he had the chance to make, like right now, speaking of wheels, right now there is a tweel. It's a tire and a wheel that they are making, that they're testing it out. They're like, hey, if we can put 2 in 1, that it solves a lot of problems. This thing is not that. This thing is not.
Of course not.
No. And I feel like it's a good start. It's a good start. I get what you're saying.
Nobody's saying it's that, but it's a good start.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, this is black owned.
He's not black. He's Argentinian. He was like, wait, everything about it.
They got us off track.
That's cultural.
Regardless of it is that Kim's and Kanye's situation is toxic. Yes. And in reality, what Kanye really needs is some real friends that are going to tell him that they're taking him to some fancy resort in Cancun and admit him.
Right.
Seriously.
But do you think that, because I feel like it's not a co-op because people actually do have these problems, but I genuinely think that it's kind of like he's had the social media posts about him. Oh, they're trying to keep me away from my kids.
But they're
not. No, that's something. I'm not saying, like, for him to be like, hey, they're trying to keep me away from my kids. I can't get into that, or I can't take time away or something like that. And I think he wouldn't allow himself to take that break because he's got to keep up the facade.
He's crazy.
Well, I don't want to laugh at that, but
no, because mental illness is
but at the same time,
he's really off. Just be real. He's troubled, man.
Yeah,
I don't think he's crazy.
I don't think
what he just did, like posting the text.
Yeah.
And doing all that.
Yeah.
Weird.
And
there's no
all
way
that,
he's crazy.
No,
he's calculating.
He has millions of followers.
He's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
He understands that leaking that information is very dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only somebody who is not acting in their right mind is going to do that.
True.
Like, what I'm saying is passion and his mental passion for his situation and him not being able to let it go and move on has driven him to a place to where nobody can pull him back from. And he's been going on for this for years.
Yep.
He separated himself from this situation, and as soon as he found out that the ties would be cut, he went into an emotional tirade. And so that's how you know this is more than just a publicity stunt.
No,
this is somebody who is I don't want to say mentally deranged, but he has some issues that he needs to resolve.
Absolutely.
And it's abandonment.
Right.
You know, his mom didn't leave him on the right terms. To what a lot of people talk about the plastic surgery and him telling his mom not to go do those things and her doing those things and not coming back. And that hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Grief is a different monster. So, and because we don't really know what his mental status was prior to losing his mom, and then now you lose your mom and never really properly dealing with that grief, and now you're losing your marriage. And so now then losing a marriage is a whole different grief process. Still the same 5 steps, but it's a whole different grief process because now you have to grieve someone who you have to now co-parent with, someone who has a platform of her own, someone who, so I'm going to constantly see you. We run in the same circles. So not even just seeing you on Saturdays to drop off the kids, but seeing you at the red carpet and seeing you at the Grammys and seeing you at all these different places. So now we have to sit back and say, outside of whatever mental illnesses you might be dealing with, you still have to grieve.
And our
you need to
money's
grieve
together.
your marriage. You need to grieve your mother. You need to grieve old Kanye versus new Kanye. You need to grieve all of it, and you need to sit with yourself, whether medicated or not. Because I don't know if he's on medication or not on medication.
I think he's supposed to be. They said he stopped taking
he won't
it.
take it because he feels like it blocks his creativity.
Yeah.
Right. Which
he's not the first creator that
I can see
understand.
that because that's what it does. It's supposed to shut off certain. That's what
Conflict.
it alters the chemicals to shut off certain things. So it's stopping your creativity makes sense. That's what it's supposed to do. But it
for
now,
a time,
right.
It's
So now it's time for you to take a step back and actively now grieve. That's what a lot of the issue. That's why you have these manic
I mean,
This
is
manic
he at a point where
the
does he
stuff.
need to keep creating? Like,
Well,
I think
it would be
I think
harsh
his,
if he didn't.
his
But at
True.
the
Might
same
need it.
time, for
he
his
has
own
stuff that-
personal,
he has albums that are timeless. His first
Absolutely.
3 albums are
But
timeless.
creativity
People
helps grieve. If he was to
But
tap
we're-
into it right
Yeah.
and healthily, creativity helps the grieving process. Whether he's grieving among his mom or the marriage or whatever the case,
But I don't
creativity
think
helps
he
that.
ever grieved his mom.
No,
Right, and that's what I'm
what
saying.
he has to do now.
That's why
I'm
he
saying.
can't grieve
do,
this.
do you
Right.
think these albums are him grieving his
Grieving process?
mother?
No,
for-
his
for-
album.
No.
These albums,
If done
aren't-
right, it could have been.
No, these albums are not him grieving. These
No.
albums are him feeding the monster.
Monster. Yep. But it could. But like again, but creativity helps heal.
And
And we've seen that, and they talk about drawing and music. But again, it now takes a counselor, or like you said, a friend, somebody who to sit with him and talk him through that. Even when I work with my life coaching clients, the reason why I push journaling, or painting, or whatever their thing is because I know that we can tap into some of these deeper spots if I can now get you talking,
Yeah.
and if I can get you journaling, even if you don't tell me personally,
Right.
you've now gotten it out of you. And so that's how comes like, no, are the albums that? Probably not, because he doesn't have anybody working with him, and he's not in a healthy enough space to
Man,
sit
he
back and do
telling
it
them-
himself.
He's telling them
So-
they ain't gonna have enough security for for what's coming from and stuff. This is one of the lines of one of his songs on the Donda 2. So he's not coping with it. Well, he's trying to cope with it by
Running around the cocaine.
by saying he's going to inflict more danger. And even if he's not, he's and I talked about I'm big on the influence that people who are powerful have.
Right.
And even if he's not talking about himself inflicting danger, him just saying that creates an idea for people who follow him
Right.
yeah,
to say that it's okay to inflict danger on those people that he talks about.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's
Not
the
okay.
danger in it all. He's not. I mean, this may be the time where Kanye needs to take a break from it all.
True.
Yeah.
And not say he's done creating, but just he's done for a minute and he needs to find himself. Or
Do a Dave Chappelle
whatever.
and disappear for
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
That's a bit again.
But he needs
But
to
how-
go. He needs
to do
to
that.
needs to go to inpatient.
but how much of this is hubris
No,
too?
seriously.
How much of this is hubris too? Because his Kanye is up here, and you have people like literally he can pull up his phone and have people say, the person you are right now, oh, I loved the person you were before. So I wish he would come back to the person you were before, even though you're 10, 15 years older.
That's gone.
And it's gone. But at the same time, in his head, his genius
He's still
Yeah,
dead.
of course.
is
But this is
now
what we
like,
were
hey, I got to get back.
But look at Uncle
gotta-
Joe.
I
He'll
gotta-
tell
That
you
may be
about
true,
being the
but-
quarterback from high school the rest of his life.
But true.
But this is where it comes into when he said he
needs
needs some real
Not-
friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people who will
Listen,
tell him
Yeah.
the truth.
This is what happened to Chester Bennington,
I don't know who that is.
Who's
I
it?
don't know.
Linkin Park, the singer.
Oh.
He ended up he killed himself.
Oh, it's right. Yeah. Last year.
Yeah. Well, 2017. But
Oh,
It's been
okay.
a while. It's a couple years ago.
Okay.
To avoid that, mental health is something that you can't ignore.
Right.
You have to be able to heal from whatever you're going through. And if he's just going and going, he has to
Yeah.
keep going on. He never gets a chance to heal those wounds.
And that's
And we
right.
don't know what's going to happen if he does not heal.
This is what Kanye's problem is. See, what people don't understand is Kanye was gifted to be able to do everything. Kanye came in the door, he was making beats. It was like, oh man, this man's beats fly. And then he started rapping. And it was like, man, he could rap too. And not only that, he was producing hot tracks.
Yep.
And so now you got this dude who's musically gifted all around. He's producing his own hot tracks. He has other tracks out there that are timeless. Whole track. I'm not every people in the game. I mean, he's like, in reality, his type of R. Kelly. Not
Right.
saying the type of
Without all
crimes
that
and stuff
other
he
stuff.
did, but musically,
Right.
musically, Kanye has his hands
Absolutely.
on a lot of stuff. And then, but what people don't understand is he can control everything in music.
He can.
And the one thing that he could not control was relationships.
Yep.
And because Kanye cannot control relationships, that's where he goes crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Look
say
at it. Well,
I
look
wouldn't
at
say
it.
relationships.
Yeah.
I would say people
Right.
because
Yeah.
he couldn't control her. He can't control her.
I think it's relationship, and this is why.
Specific.
Well, if you're dealing with people, then you're dealing with relationships.
Just
So
why I say it's specific. It's because his ultimate relationship was the relationship with his mother,
right,
and he could not control that relationship because regardless of what he thought was best for her,
right,
she was going to do the opposite.
right. Because it's
And
as humans, that's what we do.
And I don't think it was necessarily control her because that was his mother. So
Right.
and so that's where I believe that it began. It began, and then you look on the relationship with him and Jay-Z. Jay-Z was his superior. He called him Big Brother. It wasn't that he couldn't control Jay-Z; he couldn't control the relationship.
True.
Things weren't
You're right.
going the way that he wanted to. The fallout. Him and Kim K. Him and Drake. The only reason why him and Drake ain't a problem is because somebody was in Kanye's ear saying, "Dude,
Right.
you need to fix this. This ain't good for you."
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And so he fixed it. And now they making PR press runs
Right.
and doing that as BFFs or whatever. And so one thing, he can't control his relationship, and that's why he loses it every time in that area of his life.
Right.
He don't lose it when he's creating whatever because he knows he can control that. He controls everything that goes on with that. Everything that happened. You heard all the chaos around all of it. People saying he took my verse out. He did this and that because he had total control over all that.
Right.
That's why he loves that arena. But outside that, he doesn't. He has no control.
Right, because see, with music, you can control that. With relationship, it's people. People are very, you can't control how they think or how they move or all this types of stuff.
Yep.
But one thing
But if I can control the music, I can control the people.
well,
Depending
that's
on who
what
you
he
are,
is.
depending
That's what
on
you.
how that.
That's what
what you need
what-
from me.
Right,
relationships,
but not
too.
everyone though, because here's the situation. What he didn't. When you think about it, going way back, pre-music, pre-Kanye, this has a lot to do with a lot of young men with single mothers. A lot of single mothers infantilize their sons. And coping mechanisms, how he deals with rejection, how he deals with people,
100%.
all these things, that's part of his problem. That's what he was doing. So when he lost his mother, he lost his compass. He lost that grounding force. So now he doesn't know how to deal with all of these things. So I think that's where it really started too, because
He lost his conscience.
right, he did. So instead of him being, usually with kids, you teach them how to do these things. You teach them how to self-soothe. You teach them how to, accept, failure, all these types of stuff, so that when you're not there, they can function for themselves. But I don't believe he got that.
Yeah.
Because
he
he-
had it. Because if you listen to his early music,
But
it
he
was-
still,
it was very
had his,
sur-
but he still
Yeah,
had his
and
mother to
that's why I say
fall
he
back
had it.
on.
And that's why I
but,
say he had it.
And right, but
He had it.
but did he really have it?
He did, because if you listen to his
wait,
early
hold
music,
on,
if you listen
hold
to-
on. Wait a minute. If you have something, you will have it, even though your mother's there or
Even though it's
not.
gone.
So what I'm saying is, he had an illusion of having
but
it.
you can have something and lose it.
Well, I think he had a I felt like he had a part of it, but the part his mom couldn't prepare him for was the exaltation
Definitely.
of that thing. Like
When he was put on that pedestal,
Right,
there
and
was
that's-
nothing that you could because
Well, that's what I mean. When
his
you-
early music was very cerebral. If you, because when you listen to it, it's very cerebral. He was teaching folks, like literally when you listen to it, even when there was his features, everything. It was fire because it was like he was different. He was this rapper that wasn't all about necessarily just the glam and everything, but he talked about, he was relatable to everybody.
He
And
was
that's because
relatable, but
a
he had no
compass.
he had her as his compass. But what I'm saying is, just like you said, he wasn't prepared for the whole
to lose
the
him.
whole. Not only that, but he wasn't prepared to realize that he's human. Because here's the thing. When we do this to people, and we do this to children, we build them up. Oh, you're the greatest, you're the best. But we don't teach them that, hey, the same way you got up there, you can fall. And when you fall, you need to do certain things to get back up there. So just like you said, he wasn't prepared for all of this, because I've listened to some of his stuff. It's like, I'm the greatest, I'm God, all this different types of things.
how it feels,
When people should have been like, hey, you great and everything,
Yeah, but you still got to do dishes.
Exactly.
Yeah, you still got to do
know,
dishes.
you're not going to, just like my mom said, you might be grown, but I can still whoop you. You know, kind of, some situations like that.
But exactly. When you respect people, when you have people like that, yes, they're always your moral compass. So you think about when a person is put on that pedestal, obviously in his arena, there's nobody higher than him, you know? So now everybody looks to him to establish relationships, to establish careers, to establish all that. No, they're not going to defy that because their career is on the line. Their relationship with him is on the line. All that, and so that's what changes everything. His mother relationship is never with him on the line because she told him not to do something.
Right.
And so that's the thing. What we don't look at, we'll take it away from him losing his mother. Kim K, him being with her, did elevate him to another level.
Yeah.
Completely different audience.
Losing that.
Yes.
So losing that, can also send somebody into another psychotic break. We'll take it we'll minimize it and not even take it to a celebrity. We'll say a regular husband and wife.
Right.
Live their whole lives with each other. You see a man lose his wife, he don't know what to do after that.
True.
Tell me about it.
Vice
I'm
versa.
living with that right now.
You know what I'm saying? Don't know what to do with himself. Loses everything. And you would think that, he would know what to do because he had everything. No, it's because, yes, you may have it and you may know the process of it. But there's no drive to live like that no more once you lost the compass of it. True. And so that's what Kanye lost when he lost his mother.
True.
He tried to replace that with his relationship with Kim.
That's
well,
true.
we'll say even further. His relationship with Jay, he kind of tried to fill the void.
True.
Because he felt like Jay would look out for him like Big Brother.
Right.
And when it became business, he was
I think he wasn't ready for the business part. Nobody was ready for Jay-Z's the business part of Jay-Z. I don't think
It took him to another place.
Yeah, because he was like, wait, I can't get out of this deal.
Yeah.
And we're not making music. Yeah, you supposed to be. Yeah, you supposed to be my
business.
Brother.
But
Business
again,
is business.
like I was saying earlier when we're talking about now grief and coping. And so now talking about all of this. And yes, I agree with all of that. But if now we're taught how to properly grieve or properly deal with things or properly, now if we know how to properly handle ourselves, then it stops the manic episodes. And so the issue is that you're having now these manic episodes because you don't know how to deal with your emotions.
That's true.
Because you don't know how to deal with disappointment. Like you said, you've been able to control this narrative around you for so long, and now you're doing this falling thing and you're having this manic episode because you don't know how to handle the raw emotions of Jay don't F with me like that no more.
I think
this chick don't F with me. I think he's trying. I'm not gonna say he's not, but at the same time, are you really?
Now I wouldn't say now he's trying. I think he did try, and I think he tried with the whole God flip. I think that was his effort. To try to figure some things out, and
then he was like, I can still do both.
However, he went Kanye with the God thing.
No,
he did. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes, and let's be real, sometimes you only do the God thing the only way you know how.
But that still wasn't healthy because when you think about even going the God way, he didn't go join a membership.
No,
he didn't go look for a pastoral.
He created his own church.
Yeah, he didn't. So you couldn't even do that healthy. You still did that unhealthily.
But see, that's what I'm trying to say is that it was his attempt. It was probably the wrong way of making the attempt. But it was his attempt. But I think a lot of people take the walk with God thing like like Aladdin theme, like
some genie about
that's very true.
As soon as you come to it, your whole life is going to be fixed and it's going to be rainbows and unicorns. It's going to be a pot of gold and go to the frame church and you got that Romans 9:10 and say all that and do all that.
Right.
But the scripture says, believe in thy mouth and confess. Believe with thy heart and confess with thy mouth.
Yep.
And at that moment, I believed.
Right.
And I confessed. I knew who it was.
Right.
And I knew. I read the book. So I knew what happened to Jesus. I knew who Jesus was.
We having church today. Hallelujah. Yes.
At that moment, I was saying, I didn't know it. You feel me? So I went through the ceremonial process and did all that. But further on, you figure out, you learn.
It became real to you.
That's all performative,
I have a story kind of like that where I was.
Yeah, we're recording now.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
We recorded that whole thing?
I recorded part of it.
I had a story kind of like that, where I was. Well, this is when I was really heavy in studying, and I was like, yeah, I want to try to be the best Christian I can be, and I see some people that were just stranded on the road. And I wanted to just stop and talk to them, see if they were okay, if they needed help. Not little did I know that a couple years later, I ended up going to church with these people, and they were really big into it, and we were best friends for years. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know that they were Christians, or you never know.
Right.
You never know.
Never.
That's true. So finished up on this Kanye. I think he does. Like we all agree that he does need to take a break.
Yes.
Yeah,
He does need to find himself
And a therapist.
and a therapist.
And some true friends.
And a group of good friends.
Yeah.
But I think the friends part might be the hardest one because
he needs an impatient. One
True
person
story.
needs an impatient. He needs, and I'm not talking about like straight jacket or anything like
No.
that.
Yeah.
But he needs to be somewhere where he's monitored, where he doesn't have like social media.
I was about to say, yeah,
something like that, where he can just be cut off from society, and where he is Kanye and Kanye's demons, and he has to face those
and work through that.
Exactly.
And he can't leave.
And not no celebrity side, some
Where they're super pampered.
some that we don't have to pay attention to Kanye, and he don't have to be. He doesn't receive the attention from the world because, in the same sense, I think he can see if he gets attention from it, he's gonna make it performative.
He's addicted to attention.
Yeah.
That's true.
He needs
because
it.
of his set.
But
So-
he also
true story.
he also is gonna need, because I think his biggest fear is that he's gonna lose his kids, and so he's gonna his wife, soon to be ex-wife, is gonna have to be able. Okay, this man's gonna have to see his kids, or it's gonna be a manic. It's going to be detrimental for him if he can't.
But the way he's going, he's not going to be able to.
That's exactly, and that's why he needs to get the help. You know, but I think he would. I think it's possible for him
to do it now. She could.
because
could.
they have all the evidence in the world. He's just talking about it.
Just scroll.
Yeah.
Just go scroll.
Just scroll through
I
the
don't even gotta
internet.
make a case. I can literally.
All I'm
just
saying is
scroll and
that
make the
it
case
will.
for you.
It might help him get more help if she's like, listen, if you want to see your kids, you need to go, you need to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that might be a catalyst for him to go do it. You know,
Maybe.
but
he's already trying to get he's trying to get the court to make his Instagram post inadmissible in court.
You can't.
You know what I also think, and this just popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I also think happened? I think he thought that when he got with Kim K, the world would be like, damn. Like they would look at him like Jay-Z and
Right.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
People
But
don't
instead-
like Kim
but
like
no,
that.
No, exactly.
No, but
I think this is the one time I've ever really kind of been on her side.
But regardless of the fact that
Like that.
if they didn't like her, she was kind of like the queen of reality TV.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll give it to you.
And so I think he kind of, because if you think about it, like I said, Kanye's a revengeful person.
Yeah, no, true story.
So, trying to show up Jay-Z, I got Kim K.
Right.
And in reality, it backfired on him because then all the Ray J stuff
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
And all the marriages and all the other
Yeah.
people she been
And
with.
so instead of people saying, damn,
Right.
Kanye's
It
with
wasn't
Kim
that.
K,
Yeah.
people like, damn,
Kanye with Kim K.
Kanye
Right.
with Kim K.
Right. You should have did a little bit more
You
research.
see what happened to Reggie Bush and Chris Humphries and Lamar Odom
Right.
and OJ. And, I mean,
He
you
should've-
didn't see what happened to the ones before
Oh,
you.
God.
You feel me?
But you're
Now
right.
you
That's
talking about
exactly
get out-
what.
get
That's
out-
exactly what
yeah.
people are saying. Like, no, I don't know about that one, but yeah,
Episode of Get Out.
You thought
Yeah.
that was gonna fix all your problems, Kanye?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
But we can switch topics. We can go to this this Louisiana. It's such a crazy topic.
That was wild.
These Louisiana teachers, the Louisiana teacher and her
Husband.
deputy
Sheriff.
sheriff
Yep.
And you
husband.
tell you something? I don't know if it's true, but I was doing some research and I seen a story on him from 2 years ago.
No,
Wow.
that's true. No,
Yeah.
the story is true.
And what did he do 2 years ago?
I forget he
It was
did
something the same.
Yep, he
Oh,
did
wow.
something else.
While he was why he
was a deputy.
Oh, you got to
Yes.
tell us the story because even though we know it, you got to.
You
the-
gotta tell them, because you want me to tell you something? I'm sorry. I sent that to y'all, and then when I sent it to y'all, I kind of felt disgusted. I was like, why did I send this?
I watched it.
But I was like,
reading
this
it.
is something. But this is what I felt, and then this is why I sent it.
Wait,
We
let's
can
get
go
the
into it.
backstory. What's the
Oh,
backstory?
he has to tell the audience the story first.
Well, basically, the wife who's a teacher and the husband who's a deputy laced these cupcakes.
What happened 2 years ago, though?
No, the 2 years ago.
All right.
I have
give
to,
us
I have
that
to pull it
So
up.
the reason
got
why
it. Go ahead.
reason why I sent it was because I believe that when black parents are like black officials do things to this extent, like it get blasted. People talk about it,
Yeah.
and I feel like when these things happen,
Nobody
it gets
wa- they
swept
was
under
swept under
because
the rug.
nobody
Yeah.
would have never.
They don't wanna
I bet
talk
y'all
about it.
know.
Nobody
would
knows
have
about this.
I had no idea until
nobody knows
he put it on
about
the
this.
docket and you sent the video, and I was like, oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, this has to be a light has to be shed
Yeah.
on what these people did. But
Yeah.
I was like, man, why did it have to be this? You feel me? But I mean, we talked about R. Kelly.
True.
Right.
You know, I mean, so if we're gonna talk about R. Kelly, we're gonna talk about
him too.
Karen and Johnny Do, right? You feel me?
Johnny Do,
I
right.
mean,
I can't find what the husband.
I see it. So when I
But they said that he had other sexual
That he has-
assault charges.
So it's
on
probably
him.
something
Yeah.
like
yeah.
that.
So because I heard of the story, and so whenever I hear of a story, I automatically research the story to see how many news outlets is sharing the story, and that's immediately what I did. But when I did that, I searched the wife's name. But when I searched the wife's name, a couple like a story from a couple years ago came up with the husband's name, but I didn't know because I'm like, okay, that may just be coincidence, and they got the same last name.
Yeah.
So then I just start looking for the story with the wife. But when I looked for the story with the wife, the name that the dude had was the same as that, and so I was like, is that him or is it not? And so it was weird. But if he was a deputy, it was that 2 years ago because the story 2 years ago was a deputy.
Yeah.
That's why I was confused because I was like, this is a story about a deputy, and so I was like, it was confusing. But obviously, I mean, he should have been behind bars if that's the case.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that she got 41 years for cooperating, she got 41 years, plus she got a bunch of years. Like basically, like they also gave her rape charges.
Hell yeah.
And they gave her all that, and I'm like, you had like every time you see one of these stories, you think like,
Because didn't they say they weren't? They didn't just. They were doing the cupcakes weren't just filled with.
They had
the,
child porn and all
yeah,
kinds
they
of stuff.
were.
yeah.
So they had more than just the cupcakes,
Yeah.
which
But
was
they
wild.
said they got like tons of drives with all this stuff on
Yeah.
there.
There's missing drives too.
Yeah. See,
that were confiscated by the police department,
And how old is
and
she?
now they're gone.
She's
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it
she's
said.
like
So
40
that's
something, I think.
that's
So this is
implicating
my this is
other
what I was gonna
people.
say. The first thing that popped in my
Involved.
head was this generation,
You.
and this is why. So there was this movie. It was called Van Wilder, right?
Okay. Remember that
Oh.
one. Mhm.
You remember the
Yeah.
the pastry,
She was 36 years old.
the pastries with but they used the dog semen.
Yep, they
Oh,
used it.
right.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
they were eating the pastries, and they were just like, oh, and then at the bottom it was a picture of the
Oh,
dogs.
God.
And it was hilarious, right? And so it's like our generation, takes stuff from what they've seen in media and, try to, I don't know what made her, other than that, like,
Besides, it's sexual deviance.
Sick. I'm just saying it's sick. I don't know how.
It's
I can't
sexual
get into a
deviance. It
person's
doesn't
mind
matter.
like that.
Right.
That's
They got off
that's the
on doing
closest
that.
I can get to it.
Well-
That she was
comedy skit.
desensitized
Yeah.
and
No, was this-
would try to redo it.
No,
But I'm just saying, the comedy skit is the closest I can get
because
to
they
it. And those are
filmed,
grown people. Those
they
are-
filmed themselves doing it. That's what they said, right? They filmed themselves
Oh.
of him ejaculating on the cupcakes, and then she gave it to the kids.
It was the feeling of the cupcakes.
Well, on top of whatever
yeah,
the case, it's
but they filmed him doing it, and then she gave it to her students. So that's what I'm saying. It's all about
How
the
much
feeling.
did they collect?
That's
Like,
Like, just give
How
him-
much did you have to collect to
But
do that? That's
They
just-
probably sold that video of him doing it and made money.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, but I'm just saying, like, how much did you have to collect to do, like, just the thought?
Which means imagine
Which means it's a
premeditated.
thought out
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. It takes me to a different.
Well, they got
I didn't even think about
the
that.
case from
I didn't
2019.
need what you said,
The
so
case
now
from
it's on.
2019.
It's like a 4-day process.
They received a tip that they received a tip from the Missing and Exploited Children, the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, about the couple in 2019. Police seized photographs of the couple posing nude with a child, as well as other evidence while serving a search warrant in October of that year.
And why are these people in jail?
Thank you.
Because he was a deputy.
She also ate the cupcakes.
I mean, they ain't
In
no
other
different than what she do
pictures.
at home. I mean,
Right, also,
it's
so
not-
that's normal.
Right, because
She's always eating the
right,
cupcakes,
it's
you feel me?
Yeah.
Same. she was with it.
She was used to it.
They got off on
Did any
that.
of her colleagues
They
eat
did.
the
That's
cupcakes?
exactly what it
I
is.
wanna
That's
know.
That's
She
exactly
put it in
what
the
it
teacher
is.
conference room, teacher break room.
That's
On the
weird.
table.
People and their kinks, man. Here's
Yeah.
the thing, what they say: don't yuck their yum. First of all, that's gross. I'm yucking that. Those are children.
That was definitely a joke.
It's like, yeah, don't. Why would those are
No,
kids?
but think about it. They got caught doing that. What are the things that they didn't get caught doing?
Yeah, because a lot of times those
I hope she just like
The-
made 2 different batches of cupcakes
No.
and then forgot
And it's grabbed the wrong
and
one.
took the wrong batch to school and afterwards
That
like,
was for the
damn,
other party.
I took the wrong
That was for the
cupcakes.
other party.
That's what I hope.
No, that's not.
No.
I'm just trying to hope for the best.
No, you
Didn't
okay?
she record
That was- there's
that?
other
Didn't
hard
she
drives
record
on the
kids eating the
board.
cupcakes
she recorded that. They recorded.
Yeah.
They had
Oh, they
everything.
get off on the
They had.
control.
They had. Yeah, they had.
They get off on the.
But
That's what
also,
I'm saying.
a lot of the stuff they pass that stuff along in private networks.
Yes.
In private groups, and that's why when they catch one, they usually catch like
A bunch
a
of
bunch of people.
But
because
that's why there's missing tapes, because I'm pretty sure some people, like you said, there's missing drives. I'm pretty sure there's some affluent people on
Yep.
them drives
Yep.
that they're protecting.
Like
Well,
other
I mean,
deputies. He's a deputy.
Probably.
We know the
yeah,
boys-
because
we
if
know how the boys
he's
in
still
blue
a
go.
deputy, you
Yep.
still calling him a deputy 2-3 years later.
I mean, what do you mean? R. Kelly was dropping sex text, kids
That's
sex
true.
tape 20 years
Right.
apart.
And that
He's
didn't stop
dropping them
nobody
back.
from
And
watching
another
them.
one.
He's
Right.
at the low. He's at the low end of the totem pole.
Right.
I'm
That's
saying what
nuts.
we can't put it past nobody else to
Nope.
feel like they, people are sexual predators. We seen one do it, step in the name of love, do everything, believe he could fly, and was just dropping them hot like hotcakes. You feel me? Say, oh, y'all thought it was over, and another one.
But
You
this
feel
just goes to show you with the whole deputy
Right.
boys in blue and stuff like that, how they really do protect their own, because this is not the first time he's gotten into
How
trouble.
many of them are
And he
perverts?
was, and
Yeah,
he,
that's
right,
true.
and he was still a deputy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
I
saying?
wouldn't
wanna
even say
address it
protecting
either.
boys in blue. That's a pervert circle because it's
Right.
like,
Right,
circle.
but
You
because
find
they,
out when somebody
because
that
they
you
can
know
get
is a-
away with it.
I mean, but if you have a wife and kids, and you find out somebody that you're around,
Oh, ain't no boys in blue. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, at least from this side of not being a cop, I know for a
Because
fact that if I was, or anybody, and I
because
found out it was you,
I already know in the criminal
I'm not
system.
protecting you.
I already
Keep
know in the
going.
criminal system, you can kill somebody and you good in there. They find out you touching babies,
Yep.
you gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
let him go
Yeah.
sit.
You know, and so I
God.
just can't.
Oh, he's already gonna have.
they
He's
don't
gonna
sit
have a
right
bad
with
deal
law-abiding
anyway.
citizens.
He's a cop.
He's
That's all I
getting
gotta say
protected
about
because
it.
he was a
Law-abiding
former
citizen.
deputy.
No, what I'm saying is they help cover that stuff up for so long.
Because like I said, if there are missing hard drives,
right, somebody's covering
someone's
something
covering it up.
Yeah.
Other
But
perverts.
that means they know what is
Yeah,
on there.
exactly.
And so that's the troubling part. is
Yeah. It's other
I don't-
perverts.
If it was a murder, okay, yeah, that's not right. But okay, I can see
happens.
that happening.
Right.
But look at
But
Ahmaud Arbery.
I'm talking about child pornography.
Right.
You got evidence.
You would think it
of
would be
child
more serious.
pornography, and if it comes up missing in the hands of
Automatic
authorities,
guil-
that
automatically
is a
guilty.
red flag.
Right.
Automatic
That
guilty.
means
True.
that is
Absolutely.
the circle of perversion
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
there, and the
chain of
they-
command was perverted.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that law was perverted.
Their stamp of approval
that-
on whatever
yeah.
he was doing was on that.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
he was sitting free for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they could be like, hey, he didn't really do that, so just I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
But that's what always happens. Like I was saying, look at the Ahmaud Arbery case when There was a whole cover up
Yeah.
before they brought it to light.
But that was a
It was
murder,
whole-
and I can see that.
Yeah, but what I'm
That's
saying,
murder.
but I'm saying,
Not
but
okay,
that's how
but
it
it does.
happened. Because if you could do it with a murder, why not rape? Why not sexual
But,
abuse?
but see,
It happens.
when we do it with murders, we understand why they do it because we see them as murderers. So we don't.
It's nothing new to us.
Yeah,
We
but
already know
child
they're
pornography is
murderers.
a whole different situation.
Yeah.
You would think that those people are the ones to protect
Right.
from that.
Not
You know,
unless
we're-
it's
we're-
the
And they're
perverts
not.
that are
Yeah.
in the chain of
Yep.
command.
Exactly, and so when you see the red flags there come to that, that's a different whole type of
That-
cover up or even thought process. And I don't know why people aren't asking the questions of what's actually going on.
Oh yeah,
in
and,
that.
internal
Because
affairs.
these
Right.
Right. That whole department
abuse
needs to be ripped out.
Whoever
Because
they can.
in
They
my mind.
abuse
Yeah.
who they can get away with.
True.
Right.
Yeah. And
That's just the way they act.
internal affairs probably is gonna rip
Yeah,
that
they-
place.
they
up.
probably
They
already
Because I
probably
said if
on
things
it.
are missing, and like
Yep.
you said, it's not
It's
the murder.
yeah.
These are kids.
Yep.
So internal affairs needs to go and rip up that whole
And
situation.
this was in
because,
Tex-
like you said, these are
Oh, this is in
rapes
Louisiana, okay. This-
being covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How?
Why?
And not just rape of children,
Yep.
innocent. I mean, all rape is bad, but
And
kids,
you
like
get down to that.
how are these
immediately.
missing? So no, internal affairs needs to go and tear that whole station up
Yeah.
and figure out what's actually going on and how come he wasn't arrested 3-4 years. What was it, 17, 18,
19,
whenever.
but still 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is
So then go handle
and
it.
in the case of say they're not perverts, right? Men say that
Then they're just
they-
out of pocket.
No, say that this is why we need better police training because
Absolutely.
if they believe that knowing that somebody who was affiliated with them was a pervert is a blowback on them,
Yep.
then they're not trained properly.
That's
Yep.
true.
Because obviously, if you're exposing those, we would have more trust in you
Yep.
than if you're covering it
True.
up.
Yeah.
And so that is another thing. Like if they're not, you know,
So if they're not perverts and they're just
their
covering.
leadership needs to be changed because for there not to be full transparency of the people you police over, you know.
Is it Louisiana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if it was Texas, I would have been like, this is just another thing in Texas.
Well, I mean, in Texas, yeah.
Texas, Texas is something else. Like like Texas and Florida. We could give them
can
to
go.
somebody else. We can
There's
give
a
them
whole.
we can give them
They can
somebody else.
secede from the
Just
union.
another
that-
whole
that-
reason
but
not
I
to
don't
go
think-
down south. Just
like-
another whole reason just to stay out of that whole region of the country.
But here's the thing, like a lot of
They're still
times
fighting the Civil War.
like a lot of times the thinking is like we're different and so we should like in those two states specifically it's like we're different so we should we should be able to do things differently and
Y'all don't eat gator.
our brand of American is better and different. Like Texas is the only state that's not a part of the power grid.
They have their own.
They have their own power grid.
And it
When
failed
that
them.
went down, everybody was
And it
doing
failed
it.
them
And it
terribly.
failed them, but
Yeah, it was like what last year?
yeah.
Yeah.
Winter storm, yep.
But you don't have people in the state saying maybe we should rethink this.
No.
No, they're still the same system.
They
because,
double down on it.
Yeah, they double down on it because partly because of the governor, but
Yes.
also because of some of them is some of that is them,
Yep.
They like to control their own situation.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
and it's like
That's why there's two things you know about Texas. They do it big and don't mess with Texas. Those
Yeah.
are the two
Yeah.
things
You
you know.
notice who
They're
they
like-
prioritize too.
Yeah.
When in that.
yeah.
But this story happened in Louisiana, right?
yes. Louisiana they're heavy, and that's the thing about it too. It's weird because Louisiana is pretty heavy, like heavy-handed on criminals. So you would think that these
Well,
situations
criminals of what
that
persuasion?
is
Yeah.
true.
Because
Them
when you
swamp
think
white
about,
folks is weird.
Yeah, yeah.
White folks is weird.
Them swamp
Small
white
people was
folks
my
is
shit. Let me tell you something. I used to watch them boys catch them gators every week for years. I watched this show.
Because we all know that there's a law for one set of people and another,
That is 100%
they throw only part
true.
of the book at some people and the whole book at other people.
And the whole book at
So,
other people.
Well, I know they better eat all them years.
Yes.
And I hope
Yes.
the other inmates catch word of what happened. No true story.
Yeah.
Because
they're
they
gonna
don't-
catch word. It's all in the press.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Inmates
I hope
get,
the
inmates get news.
They do.
Because
They got cell phones.
because
TikTok.
because
Inmate
one
TikTok is
thing
hilarious,
one
by
thing
the way.
about COs and the police, they're not hand in hand. So
Right.
there's COs in there telling them, "Oh, dude, pedophile. If
Yep.
he's a general pop, he's a pedophile." But
Yep.
more
Yep.
times than not,
Don't they put him in like
they put them in
a
protective-
segregation because
yeah.
they
put 'em in
know?
protective custody because usually that something does happen to them, and
Yeah.
so
Especially if you're
It's-
you're
it's-
ex police officer and you're a pedophile. That's
Oh,
a
so
problem.
he's about to get. His time is
yeah,
about to
no,
be
they put you in PC.
They gonna
because
put him in the-
They know that if they put you in gym pop, that
It's a
something's
wrap.
gonna happen to you, and so it's seen like unhumanitarian to
Yep.
kind of like put them in harm's way, knowing.
Like the show,
Yep.
was it Mayor of Kingston on the show?
Convicts
show,
lose a
too.
lot of rights, but they still have humanitarian
That's
rights.
true.
I mean, I hear
exactly.
you.
And so,
Yeah.
They do.
I mean, I hear you.
No, that's true though.
I mean, I know.
But in the show, Mayor of Kingston,
Actually worse.
there was a prison break,
Yeah.
and during the prison break, or the prisoners
Dunbo.
they killed and injured a bunch of guards, and the police were trying to get in and try to stop things, and so the two of these officers got into like the bottom of the prison, and they found this group of guys, and they were like, "What are you guys doing here? Shouldn't you be up with everybody else?" They was like, "We're predators. We were predators. We had these crimes. They're gonna kill us first."
Right.
He said even before the guards,
Gotcha.
they would kill us first.
Yeah.
And it's like to have that, to think about that,
It's
like
the truth. It's the truth.
even breaking out, like, no, they're gonna try to kill me.
It's the truth. Once the only person predator feels good is in the free world because they're like chameleons.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
In lockup, you're never free. And like I was telling you, the PC is nowhere that you want to be because now you're trapped. There's nowhere to go. There's no people to con. There's no people to talk to.
Right.
There's nobody to interact with, but you and yourself ain't gonna do nothing but drive you crazy.
Okay.
But most people in PC, if they're in there for a long time, end up killing themselves.
I mean,
Yeah.
Because
Are
you
we
know,
really
we're social creatures. we need to
I'm a
have
little girl,
people.
so my head always goes, nah, go take
True.
listen,
We need
let 'em go.
people around us. That's why this pandemic with people
Yeah.
being cooped up,
Yeah.
people
They're
are going a little
depressed and
cuckoo
angry.
because
Right.
But if you
everything
think about predators, are predators for a reason.
They're
Right.
already
So if you
crazy.
think about it, when they strike, they're the most charismatic. They're great with social cues.
Yes.
They know everything. They know when to get in. They know when to get out. They know all these things.
Yep.
And so when you confine them
You
to a
take
place
that
like
away
that,
from them, yeah.
they'll go crazy.
On to the next topic. This Colin Kaepernik story, I thought was interesting. I was like,
I think it's amazing.
yeah, I think it's good, but I like caution it because I'm always like try to stay cautionary with like hope situations, like because if you have 10 people, 10 families, but what Colin Kaepernik's situation is that he's putting up money for families to get an autopsy, to get a second autopsy for victims, specifically for victims whose family was killed by police officers, and on-duty cops, or stuff like that, and off-duty cops too. And I always like caution, like, because somebody could get like, oh, we could get our case, something different could be in our case could be turned different, and they go through the heartache of, oh, well, they can't really find anything. And even though I watched the show Bones, Bones always can find something else 2 years, 3 years, 5 years later.
That's
That's
what
TV.
they do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the way it was
yeah. And she'd be like,
20 years ago.
I dealt the skull was different.
But
Like,
here-
better
here's
get
the
that
thing.
top
He
notch
was
kid.
on the treadmill. He fell, broke
But
his
that's
neck.
the way it was
Exactly.
written, and as we all know, that is
Yeah.
not how life works.
Yeah.
And though I do
No.
commend
Exactly.
his efforts, and I'm not anti, especially if the families need and want that, then no, go ahead. But I'm thinking, but sometimes when all we're looking at is bones, sometimes those things can be really hard to reconstruct.
Well,
Sometimes it's really
Yeah.
hard to pull those things.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at full cases and okay, let's really look at the first autopsy and pictures, then cool. I said I love the gesture. I'm not anti the gesture, but I am saying we do have to be cautious. Make sure that the families really, really want it, and which families, be selective, and not just autopsies, but really look into the reports and really kind of look into it deeper too. Because once bodies start decaying, it's hard to get some of that stuff back.
I'm pretty sure because he's putting his money up, he'll be selective about the cases.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.
But at the same time, I think it's amazing because
Absolutely.
regardless on if it's wrongdoing or not, it offers the family a truth.
Yeah.
Closure.
Because
Right.
right now we're in a gray area when it comes to police and
Yep.
arrests and death at the hands of the police and uncertainty about what happened. I mean, him offering that service can give somebody closure.
Yep.
They can, find out if it was a rightful death or wrongful death. And, and if it was wrongful, then you have everything that you need to go forward. And if
Right.
it wasn't, then you know that
Absolutely.
what happened and you can move on knowing what happened.
There
Yeah.
should
But
be
the way it
checks
is
and
right now,
balances.
people
This is
People
people
another
don't
way
trust
of,
the whole system.
Right.
Yeah.
So coroners could cover stuff up.
Yep.
Right.
They can also miss stuff too.
Exactly.
But you also
This is another way of attaining checks and balances.
True. Yes.
So that it doesn't get swept underneath the rug. So that, like you said, some of this information does not get tainted by chain of command.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
Those who could cover up something.
Yep.
But when you Google Colin Kaepernick, it doesn't say NFL quarterback free agent.
Right.
It says former NFL quarterback, political civil activist.
Right.
Yep.
This is his job now.
Yep.
Right. Right.
And so, regardless of what people say, he's taking activism to the next level.
Right.
Yes.
Because instead of just marching and talking about it this whole time, what nobody's talking about is that he's offered resources.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
We're talking about
And
Meals
solutions.
on Wheels,
Yes.
Yep.
Planned Parenthood.
Yep.
I mean, now we're talking about this to where
I'm so
nobody's
for it.
ever publicly offered
True.
anything like this to
True.
families. I mean, if this was offered to families, it was offered quietly behind doors, and I'm pretty sure lightly to black families.
He became a community leader.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that he's accepted his role and he's walking in it. And so you got to be proud of him.
What's
and
going
take your hat off to
What's
it.
going to be telling though too is if in the midst of this, we could tell this is going to be for a lot of black families who want answers who were not given answers,
Right.
but also I know it's going to be extended to other people of other races.
That's true.
And the thing about it is that they don't have to do that, but I think it's going to be to make it so it's going to be like, hey, police brutality and police killings are wrong. It's predominantly towards black and brown people, but here's the cases we found where it was a white family,
Right.
and you can't keep hiding. You can keep trying to keep the black folks out of the news, but what are you going to do
He's gonna
about
he's gonna
everybody
try-
else?
He's going to try hard, and this is why. And nobody's ever, I don't think people are saying this. I don't think anybody's ever said this about Colin Kaepernick. I don't know. But Colin Kaepernick's struggling with something. And he's struggling with his blackness.
You think?
Of course. Colorism is a thing. Okay.
Because he's light?
Colin Kaepernick is a light-skinned man who was adopted by white
Oh
people.
yeah.
No. Yes. It's very common.
No, he's
And
right.
so
He's
you gotta
absolutely right.
you gotta think about when this thing started to become crazy, wasn't because of how Colin Kaepernick identified himself, but
Nope.
because of how people
Identify him.
identify him.
Yeah.
No matter what his background was, no matter about who raised him, they still seen him as a black quarterback.
Yeah.
And then things started happening.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, so they always see me as black. So what do I got to do?
About to be black.
I got
And so
blackity
one
black.
thing that I know for a fact from a lot of light-skinned people, especially who've been raised like this,
They go hard.
they go hard.
They go hard.
They go
They
hard.
they
I'm
almost
not
make
anti
you.
any
They
of
almost
it.
make you feel guilty sometimes.
Yeah.
They go hard. It'd be
Because
like,
they're going real
It's like
way
they
harder
go
than you do.
hard.
Yep.
like I
because they're
got to,
overcompensating.
Yep.
I got to
Because
get
see,
a,
what the thing is they know they've been a beneficiary of white privilege their
Yep.
whole
That
life.
is true.
Yep.
or lighter
But
privilege.
Yeah.
Light skin privilege.
why-
Well, no, both.
be-
Both. You're
because-
correct. You're right.
Because the access that they had to certain things, they went to certain schools.
Yep.
I know somebody personally who went to all the private schools
Right.
and lived up the street from lawmakers and senators
Yep.
and all that type of stuff and knew all the top people and got older and became an adult and went to college and seen that people still identified that person as a black person. And once that happened, it was like, you know what? Since they see me as black, I need to embrace my blackness. And then they went extremely hard into black.
Yeah.
And it took black people saying, hey, you know, you can calm down.
Yeah.
I get it. You feel me?
I see you. Yeah,
I get it. We love you too. We understand.
They go Kanye with the blackness.
We understand the 1 ounce rule.
Do you think that?
That was a good point.
Because I think also they're not. I mean, we joke a lot about light skinned
Right.
people, about people who are light skinned.
That's true.
But I think also they're also accepted in black community, in black families. Like black
Why
people.
ain't LeBron James doing that? He's an active player right now. Why ain't LeBron James is said to be the first NBA player to become a billionaire while playing. Why isn't he allocating money to get? All the stuff he's talked about, social justice and police brutality and everything like that. Why is he doing?
Or does he, and we don't
I'm
know.
not saying that. I'm not saying that LeBron James is not a good person because he's a great human being.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that Colin Kaepernik is so extreme in this right now that he's going to use everything that he has, all his resources, because he understands one thing is as white people have is resources.
Yes.
And the one thing that they use
the
is
different
their resources to help their own.
Yep.
So he's going to use all
Yep.
his resources to help. That's why he ain't even fighting to get back in the league. He fought to get his money.
Yep.
He ain't fought to get back in the league like that.
And also, he's still got more money coming. And
Yep.
plus, people who push their cars get help faster than the person who sits in their cars with their flashers on waiting to get help.
Yep.
If you start pushing your
True that.
car,
That's
People come
true.
and help
people will come and help you. And I think also that's
Crazy.
to your point.
Yeah,
That
it
I
happened
think
to me the other day. My car died. I was at the gas station. Battery died. Battery was shot on my car. Try to start it up. Boom, boom.
the new one.
Yeah, it was a rental car. It was a 3-year-old
Oh,
rental
okay,
car.
okay.
Battery died.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm about to go buy a battery, but I got to get this out the way because I'm at the pump, right? So I ain't want to ask nobody for a jump right there. And I'm like, let me just get my car to the side first and figure it out. So I just started pushing it, and as soon as I start pushing it, dude gets up and said, "What's up? You need help?" I'm like, "I just need a jump." He's like,
Yeah.
"I got you." Boom, and that's all. That's all.
Yep.
That is true.
It
Yep.
takes the initiative first, and even that story that I was saying at the beginning. You feel me? I started walking.
Right. And
Yep.
somebody
You feel
saw
me?
you.
Somebody
walking.
saw you walking.
Yep.
Yeah.
I could have stayed
Yep.
at that payphone.
Yep.
Yep.
McKinley panhandled,
Yep.
try to get my way a bus ticket or something. But
Because Kanye could have, sorry, not Kanye. Kaepernick, who had 2 Ks. Kaepernick could have taken his money
And been cool.
and been cool, but
Yep.
taken his lawsuit money and been cool.
like
And
the other people
and-
who were involved in that.
yeah, he
Yeah.
could have said, all right, I'm at these rallies and that's it, and walked away. But I think it does say a lot that he's
Absolutely.
coming back and saying, okay, let's do next. Because I think activism has taken it's gotten a shark shot in the arm, but also you have to look at it now differently, because it's like 30, 40 years of activism has been great, but has been great for what? Because now it's like, hey, you've got to put your money your foot, your action behind where your mouth is and where your post was.
But every strong activist group, that's what they did.
Yep.
I mean, you think about the Black Panthers. They didn't just
Yep.
arm themselves up with guns and protect everything. I mean, they had lunch programs.
They fed
and
people.
They
taught
They
people.
started
they looked
WIC.
out. Yeah, they looked out for families. They looked out for their community. They put it on the line. And
Yep.
so, I mean, when you are, it's good. I mean, Al Sharpton and all them. It's good to go out there and talk and be in front of the news. But you sit
just
up in your
talk about
cushy
it, be
house
about
and
it.
your private jets and doing
Yep.
all that.
Yep.
When you're using your resources to actually help the community. And so, Colin Kaepernick is putting it all on the line. He put himself on the line, and that's where his extremism really came from.
Right.
Is when he sacrificed himself.
Yep.
Because he sacrificed himself first.
Yep.
And then from all that, I mean, ain't nobody getting ostracized from kneeling nowhere.
Right.
True.
He's the only one.
Yep.
True.
Yep.
I mean, we seen Eminem kneel he probably gonna get more money for kneeling at the Super Bowl.
That's true.
Yep.
Actually, he did. Because Lose Yourself became the #1 stream after the
that.
Super
Yep,
Bowl.
that is
Really?
true.
Yes.
That is true.
10 times.
That is true.
10 times the streams before then.
Yep.
What?
Every time on the
Yes.
Super Bowl, Missy
Even
Elliott
all the
stuff
Dr.
jumped
Dre
up
songs?
after she
Yes.
did a thing on Super
Everybody
Bowl.
else, everybody got a boost Eminem got the biggest boost.
Wow.
He was the only white guy back then.
And I didn't even know. Nope. That's the thing. Everybody says the same thing. I didn't even know what he was doing until after. It's like, oh,
I didn't know why he was kneeling.
He was kneeling. I thought he was just waiting for the song to get done.
But he did for a long time.
Yeah.
He did,
and it made sense afterward.
Yeah.
But I didn't know why he was kneeling, why he did it.
Yeah, I was just like, get up. The camera about to switch. Get up. You got to go to the side of the stage.
I thought it was like a performance thing.
Yeah.
You know how like.
But there was a lot of things in that performance when you watch it again. You do because Snoop had was his mom on the screen.
Something was
On the
There was a
TV,
lot going
yeah.
on.
When he walked past, it showed. Yeah, he showed like his mom. Yeah.
Well,
Really?
But when the scene switched and everything like that, cause you know, like when 50 did start doing his little jiggly whatever he was doing, and then they all just like froze or whatever, and it goes to the next scene. So when he did that, I thought they were gonna go to like the next shot.
Right.
Yeah, I thought he would just wait for that
It was just
for him to pop up and be like,
like,
okay, let's go. Yeah. I thought
There was so much going on.
there was. I thought he was trying not to crease them J's. I wanted them J's.
Still feel the same way I felt about it.
That's true. Yes, you do. That was good.
No, I talked to somebody yesterday, and they agreed with you. They said, I kind of agree with him, but like they were like
You said it. I was
they
like,
said
wait, right.
they were like
Mad at it.
they were like 60-40. They were
You know
like
what's so funny? Did they say it like that too? People always struggle to agree with me.
well, no, they did because they had listened to the podcast. She had listened to the podcast, and she was like, Marv gets on my nerves, and I was like, we were talking about
That's
this,
my charm.
and this what came up in the podcast, and then she was like,
But you're not.
I said I kind of agree, and then I was like Marv said it, and she was like,
It's because Marv said it. That's why.
she was like my adversary. She was like, but I agree with him. She was like, there could have been others. There was other songs, and when you said beautiful, when we were talking about beautiful, she was like, that would have been a better song.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of true. He's wrong, though. 1,000% wrong.
Even as you were
But no.
talking last week, I was like, no, I don't think you're wrong at all.
No, that's what she was saying. She was just like, it wasn't. He's not wrong.
Every now
It
and then I
like,
say something right.
and but it was so funny because I was just like,
I know I get on people's nerves. That's my charm, man. I know I get on people's nerves. I ain't
but
mad about that.
but she was.
I stand on my heel and down my sword. You feel me?
But no, a lot of people are like, man, it's like y'all be getting heated. It was like, but I do like it. Let's go to this next topic. This last topic of the show. I lost it. World War
We're
III.
doing good all time.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that. Look at us being good.
Does everybody have their guns ready for World War III?
I mean, well,
No,
I
don't.
do.
I don't think
I got a couple.
I don't think it's gonna get that far.
No, you
never know
I
what
wouldn't
Putin-
say that.
No, I think
never know
they're
with
I think they're gonna let Putin do what he's gonna do.
I don't.
And this is
yeah.
why. This is because they sanctioned him.
Yeah.
To the
So
hilt.
eventually he's gonna run out of resources.
Yeah.
So he can drag this on long as eventually it has to stop.
Right.
You know? And when it stops, well, how does that look for because what he's trying to do is he's trying to take the land and then split it into two.
He's trying to get the old gang back.
Yeah.
He's trying to get the
And
USSR
so,
back.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's gonna work out for him the way he's doing it. And I think America's just kind of like letting himself hang himself with his own rope.
He wants Ukraine for the water resources,
but
from
we
what I
can't get
hear.
involved.
They have a lot of resources. If you look at there was a post. There was all the statistics
They
of
have the
all
gas,
of the.
They have the fuel.
They have the fuel.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
have
we're
their
gonna-
number.
we're gonna feel it, too.
Their number like
One
two.
for
They're like
each.
2 in fuel. They're like wheat. They're like 1 or 2 in wheat. Sunflower oil.
The specific kind of metal that they
Yeah,
use.
or iron. Some type of
electric
ore.
cars.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just too dangerous for us to get involved.
Yeah.
But we're
Not
gonna-
necessarily for us, but
We
for
were talking-
everybody involved.
We were
But
talking
part
about
of NATO.
earlier.
We're part of NATO.
We were talking about
and,
earlier.
And the fact that Belarus is now joining Putin, and because it's no longer just Russia, it's Belarus and Russia against the Ukraine. It could turn into a world war. Because you have Belarus changing their constitution in the middle of the night and allowing Putin to use their borders to invade the Ukraine, which is what happened.
but a world
That's how
war-
they got Chernobyl, the
But a world
control
war,
of
a world war at this
Chernobyl.
age is so detrimental to not just not war wise, but to the livelihood of the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, because
Right.
a world war does not mean guns and ammo, and a world war at this stage means nuclear.
Yes,
It's-
exactly.
And if it goes nuclear, that means everybody is shooting off
It's
nukes.
ma-
And
it's-
if everybody is shooting
But
off
that's
nukes, that
why-
means
They were talking
that
about
means
this,
no
too.
more existence.
Right, but this is why this is why we need. This is why people probably need to get involved because it's
that's
going
why
to
they're
get. But
That's why they're not.
But it's
If-
mad. It's
it
mad.
doesn't
Like
mean it doesn't mean to say it's going to stop it if they don't. If we just do nothing, you know what I'm saying?
us and Russia are what is it? Mad, mutually assured destruction. That
Yes.
means
our job is to
our-
influence somebody else. To,
our
somebody
our
else to
nukes
help
would
Ukraine.
Yeah.
our
That's our
nukes.
job is we can't step in.
Yeah, we
Our
can't.
job
Yeah,
is to influence somebody else to help Ukraine.
yeah,
Right.
because
Because if we step in, that's when it goes off.
because yeah, that we were talking about it before the show, how there are a lot of alliances
Yes.
that
Gonna be
that
shifted.
would have to be shifted
Yep.
because like if like take for instance like let's just say
But why? How do we know that in the past 4 years before Biden got into office that the alliances hadn't shifted?
That's true.
well no that's
No,
like,
that's what
there's
we're
a
talking
lot
about.
that's what I'm saying there because if we look at China, if we look at China say the U.S. did something, say the U.S. did something, and then China's like, well, you guys, we need to help out a little bit. Then I'm saying, then you have Japan looking like we're close. We don't like the Chinese,
Yep.
and we're close to China.
Yep.
Maybe we should step in.
Yep.
Then you got North Korea and South Korea. You also have the outliers are India and Pakistan. They're both nuclear powers, and they both do not like each other. So if one participated, the other one.
But that's why I'm saying
Right.
we can't step in.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because
once we step in, it's over.
I feel like we're the
It's-
one.
it's
Like
a-
we changed
unless
the.
we neutralize everything.
Yeah.
But here's the situation.
over.
It's gotten tricky because Belarus was supposed to be neutral.
Everybody was
And
supposed to be
they
neutral. It was supposed to be UK,
So
Ukraine,
with-
and
right.
Yeah, of course.
So
I
with
mean,
that,
you
if Belarus could flip, then that means other people who are supposed to be neutral and staying out of it.
But we're talking about an ex-spy who runs the country. Like he's not
Right.
going to be able to
Where-
convince
but
somebody
Right.
on
where
his
is
side. Like,
where is
we-
Rambo in all this?
I don't
Where is
know. I don't know
where don't we have any
Rambo
Rambo?
at.
or
All I
what-
know
where-
is it's
Where's Jason Bourne?
yeah,
Yeah.
something
Where's
like-
Jason Bourne?
What
You
is
know?
like what?
No, all I'm saying is we might say that we can't step into it, but it could come to a point where we're gonna have
But
to.
then you
step
have
into
all
it.
those.
the
You have
only
all
way-
the European countries who
Yeah.
are right there,
When
who are like,
if
hey,
US steps on that soil, the only thing that they're going to say that they're going to be doing,
is throwing
police
nukes.
action.
no, is escorting
Yeah.
Ukrainians to safe haven.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is the U.S. trick. This is what they do. They go somewhere, say we're just trying to assist these people, and if in the process,
They slip in a couple.
in the process of that happening,
Something
you start shooting and you take out some of our people,
Well, now it's
then now
personal.
it's like
Yeah.
okay, now we gotta do something.
Yeah.
And that's what they usually do.
But then
Yeah.
you have NATO. NATO just activated their and NATO
Yeah.
is only strong in name. They're
but
like they're weak.
But 5-6 years ago, we had the guy running the office talking about getting rid of NATO.
No, that's not
Talking about
exactly. That's what
defunding
I'm
NATO.
saying. But NATO's still around, and they just activated their some type of defense.
That guy was buddies with Putin. anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
But
what
that's
makes you
why
think
he
that-
got into
yeah.
power because Putin got him
So
there.
what makes us think that 5-6 years ago people that NATO alliances
this
were
whole thing
looking at
changed and
USA
went-
was like, you know what?
Yeah, yeah, and we have people here who are like.
They're okay with it.
They're okay with. They're like, they should. That was like, was it Trump at his dumb speech was saying it's a smart move,
Because he was saying we fit the bill. That's what. And so
and there. Well, you have a lot of.
He looked at it. America as a business, and that's where he failed at. Is because everything he was trying to do in checks and balances was financial.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he was like, well, if we need money here, we need to cut here.
Right.
That's what he always was doing. And it's like, it's not necessarily just about the money. It's about the relationships that we do build.
And plus,
because when things like this happen, we need those relationships.
Right, exactly. You can't run a
situation-
country like a business.
Right.
So that's why when people say, "Oh, a businessman should be president," no, you can't run a country like a business.
Yeah.
That's not how it is.
Well,
We're gonna always be broke at a certain point.
A bad
because we have
businessman,
to. Yeah.
a bad businessman should not run anything. Like,
Yeah, he's
like,
that is what he is
well,
too.
and if you think about it,
Well, he was good.
Yeah, yeah.
And whatever he did, it was Trump.
If you think about it, the first time he got impeached, who was the impeachment over? It was over the Ukrainians. It was over that stuff with Ukraine.
True.
So of course he's gonna also have a little bit of like these mother.
He knew it was coming.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. That's why.
Yeah,
That's
this
why.
would've
He,
happened
earlier.
that's why
If he
he
would've
tried
won the
so
election,
hard to
this would
win.
happen.
That's why he was trying so hard to block, so he could be president again.
If you won an election, January 6th,
we would listen.
Russia going into Ukraine.
Yeah.
We would have been. We would have exactly. America would have been on Putin's side right now.
Yep.
Doing.
they would have been doing not one thing. It would have been just the Congress passing a declaration and that's it, and them
Right.
not doing anything else.
Well, I don't know about getting our guns ready, but we should have been got our guns ready a long
say,
time
first
ago.
of all,
Yeah.
I
get
just
them
been
ready.
dragging
Yo,
my
we're
feet
going.
on that.
Yeah.
Where's James Bond when you need
I know.
him?
I know. Hey, where's all of them at?
Where's
Like,
Idris Alba?
Listen,
I know
They're
you
all.
and
They're
your
all.
big voice
They're
and
all.
your muscles and all that.
Actually.
You feel me?
They're all in Europe right now, shaking in
they
their
are.
boots because
He's supposed to be the new James Bond.
which I'm
That's
here
not
for,
official.
by the way.
So y'all
Which I'm here
gooking
for,
and
by the
gawking
way.
over him, and he can't save us
it's
from Putin.
You put it on block.
But the funny thing is, though, when watching the news and stuff, the Russian people don't want to be doing this.
No, they're
They're
actually split.
protesting right now.
They're actually split.
Yeah, they're protesting right now and getting the Jesus beaten out of them because they're protesting about it.
They don't wanna go to war.
But like it's all about it's about the money.
So
it's
is
about
Putin the new Hitler?
Yeah.
duh.
I don't know
He's-
because
well, not like that,
I would
I mean,
call
what
it-
he's doing
I wouldn't-
right now.
That's
What he's
Hitler-esque.
doing right now is
It's
kind
but,
of
Hitler-esque.
but he doesn't have he doesn't have the
Rights
power.
violations,
He doesn't.
yes, but
he doesn't have the power of. He doesn't have a real strong ideology. He has a fortitude about himself.
He doesn't
Right.
need,
But
he doesn't need see, I think we look at Hitler's theology and say, we only look at that, but we don't look at the power to be able to control the minds of people.
Right.
And that's one thing Putin has.
But Putin doesn't have that. Putin,
That's true,
But
because
he has the
people-
power. But he has the power of the strength in his office and to take out anybody else.
Yeah.
he may not persuade them. He may not. His persuasion is different. It's not
It's
him
more of a-
talking you into coming
Yeah.
across the
No.
street from you. It's him putting a gun at you and saying
Yeah.
cross the street.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
So
yeah.
So
It's more like having guns around the
So-
street and
so-
saying, "This is the only way you can walk."
his
Yep.
past. No, people knowing his past is why Russia fears him.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they
yeah.
know he's ex-KGB.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
They know what he's been involved
Yep.
in. So it's like, hey, you go against Putin, you may not survive.
You'll
Yeah.
disappear.
So it may not look like Hitler, but it has the same effect.
Yes.
Because people didn't go against Hitler because they were fearful that
Yeah.
they wouldn't survive if they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
giving Hitler vibes, as they would say.
Very Hitler vibe. He just ain't got one of them little
Yeah.
scroungy ass mustaches.
and if he keeps on going down this road unchecked, who's to say that he doesn't go?
But
all
he's
the way
been
down?
But this
unchecked
is
this
how-
whole time.
But this is how World War started.
Yeah.
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 By people with this mindset.
Yep.
And thinking that they can take anything,
they
whatever,
want.
When they
whenever
want.
Wanna
control
do it.
over
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so these are how they started. So I can't. This has the potential of a world war.
Yeah.
I certainly hope
I
it
just don't
do
think
that.
that U.S. is not going to let it get there. Because if it does get there,
Things will get a little bad.
I mean that means sacrificing everyone.
We're suffering right now
Yeah.
because of because look at the oil, look at the gas, exactly, inflation.
Oh, that thing finna be
our
$7
fuel
too.
coming from Russia,
Right. Oh, not
So
only
it's
that,
actually
but
working from home.
if you think about it,
I'm so happy working from
which
home.
affects
Yeah.
everything.
it affects
Oh, if I go on
everybody.
a date, I'm gonna be like, hey, girl, you got to drop.
We might not be underground fighting, but we're getting the
and we Dutching
backlash
it.
from
Yes.
it.
Right.
You know, because we don't get the oil.
we got the meat.
We don't
You
get
know
the
what?
oil.
Not only that,
Yeah.
but we haven't produced in America. We haven't produced a lot of stuff for a very long time.
Yeah, true.
So that's
True.
where we're going to be in deep doo-doo. We haven't produced a lot of stuff. So now that all of these avenues are being cut off, now we got to figure out a way.
to
How we
produce our own.
exactly
Because we ain't even selling new cars right now because we can't even produce them like that.
right.
Well, and
Eventually, girls are gonna be selling their OnlyFans for the tanks of gas.
well, I was looking
I got
at
pretty toes.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
figuring
looking-
out how to make it a thing.
Get a subscription to my OnlyFans for a tank of gas.
I was looking at it.
The future projection.
We get
Oh,
a lot
God,
of
don't
our
say that. I don't wanna- I don't
our
wanna-
wheat and stuff like that from those two countries.
Exactly.
Why? Like
And
we
you have the whole of Middle
land.
America.
we have so much land. We're giving money to farmers not
Roller coaster.
to grow. Yes.
We're
to
gonna have to change
not-
that.
The train.
it's just it's a smaller one. Yeah, it was just a smaller one. We're giving money to farmers to not farm land.
True.
Subsidies to not do things. And it's like,
Why?
But because we're gonna go hungry because
Because
of
it
that.
became- well, it became
Because we
cheaper.
can't. It's exactly. It's cheaper
Yeah.
to do it outside than it is to do it here.
Yeah.
And and the war right now is going. The pandemic already knocked
Exposed.
Showed-
It, yeah,
Okay.
Exposed the problem.
Yep,
and
exposed
now
weaknesses.
we got to deal with a potential
Yep.
world war. It's like I was just telling my mom today. I'm gonna have to learn to start growing tomatoes and having some chickens and being able to do
Right.
that
Do it
myself
all over again.
because food is going to become scarce.
Yeah.
Because a
Groceries are
lot of
already
America's
scarce.
food don't come from America.
Now
Yeah.
this is also what this is also a cultural thing because some cultures are prepared for war.
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I'll talk to American culture. White people are prepared for war.
Sure are.
And we don't think
We're
about
waiting
it, but you think about it, all the wars that we've had, the major wars that we've had, like the ones that we weren't alive for, we weren't really recognized as, people.
True.
Yeah.
So the resources were held by the white, and they hoarded those resources.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now you can even look to it today. I remember when I was a mover, I was up in Lacey. I was moving this older white couple, and they were talking about it was not too long before the pandemic, and they were talking about how things were going to get crazy and how they needed to stock up.
Yep.
And so they had this shed in the back, and in the shed they had rice, beans, all
Powdered
all
eggs,
non-perishable
powdered
items,
milk.
stuff yes,
I had a
everything
client like that too.
Everything that
Guns out of her behind.
yeah, everything that they can have, and I'm talking about they could live for maybe 10, 20 years off of what they just had in their shed, and
Doomsday preppers are mainly Caucasian
but
in
because
this country.
we think
Oh,
about
they
it.
was loving the pandemic. They were
Yep.
ready.
You gotta think about it, when all the wars happened and they started rationing.
Yep.
Yeah.
They know what it's like.
Yeah.
Yep.
We didn't have the resources, so we don't know what it was
Nope.
like. We've always been on a ration.
Yep.
And so that's the thing that comes where you do have the resources and what happens when these things do happen. You prepare for them. So they knew they've been in a world war and didn't have non-perishables. And
Right.
So we need to stock up on this stuff. Remember, we had how many times Y2K?
Yep.
People who were stocking up on those things.
Yep, that's true.
I mean,
That is very true.
And so you talk about the pandemic. What went first? I mean, not actually the perishable things went first because people knew they had to get their hands on those things.
Yep.
Right.
Because there wasn't going to be a chance that the pipeline was going to get more of that stuff in.
Right.
So milk, stuff like that went fast. You would go to the stores and it was bare when the snow blizzard hit.
Yep.
Everything.
You know?
Forget
Yep.
about the toilet
Gone.
Yep.
You know?
Every single thing.
They're already prepared for it. They're the first ones to get there because they know they know the first thing to do when these things happen.
Right.
We're not prepared for it because our parents didn't teach us.
Not even just that, resources also too. If you, because you got to remember, they make more often.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And so if you make more and you hear rumors of war, whatever the case, the first thing
start
I gotta stock
stocking
up.
up.
Well,
Yeah,
you know
you
what? I
start-
have the money to do it
Yeah.
when a lot of black families don't
Don't.
have the.
They don't have the excess money to do
You know,
those
I-
things.
When's the last time you filled up your tank?
Last week. I work from home, so
All
I
right,
don't
so
have
I'm
to
gonna
fill
tell you
up
this.
I did it yesterday.
The day that Russia, the day that Russia invaded Ukraine, there was lines at gas
Yep.
stations.
Yep.
Yep.
But again, most of them were white people. But again,
Exactly,
it's because
they
black.
knew. They
it's coming.
knew.
They knew it was
I
coming.
need to go fill up right now.
Right. But a
Because
lot of
we're-
us don't have the means.
we-
to
And
guess
do
what they
that.
was filling
a lot
up
of
at?
Single parents don't have the means to
Guess
do
what they was
that.
filling up at?
Right. Where?
Costco.
That's
Oh,
where
yeah.
I went.
Costco
Because the
be-
thing is,
oh
no,
my
because hold on.
goodness.
Not only can you get the
Costco be
gas,
busy anyways,
not
though.
only can you get the gas, but you can shop and
Food.
buy by bulk.
Yes.
So now you can stock up and get gas, and you're good. Just in case anything goes down,
Yep.
you're straight.
Right.
And I went. Only reason I knew, because I went to Costco to get the battery.
In other words,
I'm
folks,
running the battery, and I'm like,
get a
damn,
storage
there's
unit.
hella folks at Costco right now.
Yep.
I
Get
mean,
your
pouring
stuff
Yeah.
Right.
stocked up right
Toilet
now.
paper is already
Yeah.
being hoarded.
Yeah. The dude,
Again.
Every week.
There's still
Stock up.
That's
there's still
true.
a good amount. There's some stuff there's still a good amount of, but I think the companies are still not able to keep up with
COVID hit him.
COVID hit them, and it's taken them a while. They haven't gotten back to, because you're still having to deal with increased demand, also with changing
lack of workers. And
lack of workers.
And we've burned some bridges with some relationships.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
by putting tariffs on certain people, and
Yep.
so certain
Oh,
products
God,
that we
yeah.
import and
Right
stuff
before
like
it,
that,
too.
it's hard to get. Like we're saying, like
the tariffs with China.
because I went shopping for a new car, so I'm going for a new car, and you looking on the market, you can't buy a new car
Nope.
like that. They don't
Nope.
make them like that.
Nope.
It's very
That's
short.
why used cars are so expensive right now.
so expensive right
And
now.
then the new car, you have to have already gotten in line a while back or put your money down to get one of them. And even though they're advertising, oh, this new car's coming out soon, you ain't gonna be able to get it
you
though.
can pay for one.
But you can pay for one,
You
but
pay
you
for
ain't
one,
gonna
you don't
get
get it
it.
right
Yeah,
now.
you
Not
don't
gonna
get it.
get
Yeah,
it right now.
like
Yeah.
Ford just halted the F-150 because of the chips.
yeah,
Yep.
everything's halted because of chips.
The F-150 is literally it's been the number one selling vehicle in the world. It's the number one selling vehicle in America for like 40 something years.
But it's getting
In
out
the
there.
world, it's like, I think it's like top 3. But for them to halt production on that truck, because it sells 700,000, 800,000, 900,000 a year, that's all. That's
Xbox X Series done. I mean, not done, but they're like
You can't get 'em?
They're slowly releasing them because of the chip.
Yeah.
And they needed to process it, so they don't have the chip, so they can't let them out like that. For everybody who knows, if you find one at retail price, buy it. I'll buy it from you.
I got you.
If anybody, I'll buy it from you. You find it at retail price, I'll buy it from you. Get your hands on it. Just say you see it, get it. I
Get
got
it.
you. Like, but you can't get them.
The whole thing has been a detrimental clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Quite literally. I mean, you look at COVID, and it hurt our economy because it drived up inflation with all the money that was
But it
being
wasn't just
printed.
COVID
No.
because COVID hit,
Yeah.
and we could say it was COVID, but COVID was a good cover for what was happening.
Yeah.
Because while COVID was happening, Trump was putting tariffs on China and putting tariffs on all these other countries. I mean, he was putting
And now
travel bans on countries.
They all just hit all at once.
Exactly, and so you got ships docked at certain places that are not going to be moved because they can't come. We can't import them because of the tariffs, and the Chinese is too high. Yeah, I mean, I used to get my little Jordan plug. Can't even get them like that because the shipping's so high because they all come from China.
And it all comes from us not producing our own
Exactly.
stuff.
Yep.
Us
We
shipping
do.
out our work over to other places
Yes.
when our people need that work.
Yeah, because
here.
corporations realize that they can make more money if they outsource
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
work.
And that's the
it's all
problem.
about
Now they're
corporate
suffering.
greed.
Yeah,
because
if
of
you
that.
tell somebody
Now they're exposed because
they're
of
going to
it.
produce something in America, they'll laugh at you. Like,
Exactly. America hasn't produced stuff in over 20 years.
Yeah.
Well, the things that they want to produce, the people that they want them to produce can't to produce them. Because,
Right.
so if you think about it, the only people who
Now
do
look where we're
work
at.
who do work in the trades where they can profit off of are illegal aliens
Yes.
and prisoners.
Yep.
Yep.
And so prisoners can't build you cars.
Yep.
Yep.
Illegal aliens can't build you cars. And so you have no use for them. So what do? You outsource it to people who can that sell you the parts for cheaper.
Right.
They're not going to make prisoners. You don't want prisoners making you shoes. And
Yep.
You don't want them because you don't want to give them access to those tools to be able to do that. Right. And so
And it
I
cuts,
mean, they
cuts
do stuff
down
like
on
make
your
license plates and crop fields and they do stuff like that. You know, like
even outside of the country. Like if you brought in, like say they brought in like shoe manufacturing here, it like even if it's a prisoner doing it, it's still
It costs too much.
Yeah, it costs too much for them to get their profit on $100 shoe. They want $90. They want $85-$90 in profit.
$250 on making a shoe.
Exactly. They don't want to spend.
But see, that's the thing. It's
cost
not that
in
they
the
don't
end.
make a profit. They don't make as much as they can.
Yeah.
Because they have investors who we want all the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can do it here.
That's what happens when you split the pie.
Right.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
do it here.
Yeah.
It's just the people who invest the money, they want to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Yep.
Even though people are going to be the little man is going to be totally asked out, pardon my French, for it.
Yep. And
Because it's greed. It's all greed.
And we
It's
think
all
that
greed.
it's going to
Love the
cost a
money.
lot for them to ship,
Yes.
for them to ship and bring it here. But it's like, no, we don't want to build a plant there because even if it's closer, it's still more expensive. Like it's still more expensive no matter how you cut it. It's more expensive to do anything in America because we've got to have everything together. We've got to have all the.
No, because we want all the money. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's not even they make profit. It's
Yeah.
not like they don't.
Yeah.
It's they want it all.
Yeah.
It's not some. It's not half. They want the whole thing. They want
the whole
all
thing.
of it. They
Yeah.
want all of it,
Yeah.
and that's part of the problem. We're not satisfied. Okay, you can get 100 for that. But if I did this, I can get 2, right? Yeah. Well, I want the 2.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what. That's
So now they're getting all of this profit, and there's nobody else to be able to buy anything
right.
now.
Right.
Because they can't. They don't have anything.
Exactly.
And now this is where they're going to stagnate because guess what? Now this is where you're going to stand because
Right. And this is the thing. They want to keep all the money. And this is why people.
It's like we talk about like grieving and trauma and all that type of stuff. And America has a mindset too,
Yeah.
And so if we paid attention, America's mindset is if we give to the less fortunate, they'll be happy with their current state.
Right.
And so I mean you could take it to welfare, to the legal alien system, to even how we outsource jobs. So as cheap as it is, you think about it. And I'll take it to my personal experience. I remember when I went to Jamaica for the first time, and I thought I was going over there broke. I paid $500 for something for my round trip, and I had $100 on me, and I was staying for a week, and I didn't think I was going to be able to pull it off. And then when I started seeing how much everything was priced over there, I was like, well, damn, you feel me? And I give somebody $3, and they would be like, hell yeah, you feel me? Like I changed their life almost. And I was like, okay, you feel me? And I'm going to the bar, and I'm like, hey, let me get a beer. And they're like, okay, this is how much I'm calculating in my head. I'm like,
Probably like $1,
right? I'm like,
a US dollar
hey,
for
who else
beer.
wants something to drink?
Let me get a drink. Let me get a drink and some food.
And I came home with $40.
There you go.
I was there for a week. Came home with $40. I was like, oh, this is lit. And so, man, my mind, you think about it, you maximize it. It's like, well, if I'm putting my funds, it's like the Dave Chappelle thing. If I'm using my resources to put into this less fortunate area and it makes it better for everything, why are you saying anything? And so you have all these relationships. You outsource your shoemaking in China. Well, at one point, the dollar wasn't that strong. So now everybody that is profiting there is making better money than they probably ever have been.
Yep.
What are you whining for? And so you think, in America's mindset, they think that because you put people in a situation better than they were in before,
It's going to take something away from somebody else.
they don't care, and that they'll always keep the relationship. And that's how they say, those people will not buck against you because that's how they feel. I mean, think about it. If in reality we could just be, I mean, we do get rid of legal aliens, but we could literally just be getting rid of them right and left and make sure none of them. We know exactly where all of them at, but it's not good for business.
No.
Right?
And
it's cheap labor.
They are.
But also, it's also
But they're-
inhumane to do such a thing because they're taking care of.
So was slavery.
Absolutely.
But
That was the worst thing.
they have well, and the thing about it is like they could say illegal aliens all they want, but we have programs to let companies use
Exactly.
illegal aliens because it's business wise, it's cheaper.
Yep.
It is viable. And it makes people more money. If you got
On
if
the
you
flip
got to
side for
yeah,
them.
yep,
Because
yep,
what do they do?
yep,
They don't invest here.
Nope.
yep.
They invest back home.
Exactly.
Because the money that they make here
They take
is
back
more
home.
valuable back home.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so,
The remittance. Yeah.
So-
But that's why they come to begin with, so
Yeah.
they can build a better life for back home.
So they can go back
But-
home and retire.
Right, but
Yeah.
but here's the thing: as a person coming from outside of the United States, and this whole pandemic and stuff, a lot of those countries like Jamaica and all of that, they're being hit really hard now because of the pandemic, and there's no tourism happening.
Yep.
But also, because we have Carnival right now, but we don't have it at the full scale like we would normally.
Yeah.
So our country is like suffering for money. It's like really terrible. But to go back to your point with, outsourcing it to China, we send all that stuff out to China, but you understand how China built up its wealth by taking all of this stuff from all over the world.
Yep.
Yes.
Now China's got money to burn.
Yep.
You
They were
know,
already
because
wealthy before.
they're very wealthy.
Yes.
They would you have Chinese students coming here driving BMWs and Mercedes Benzes
Yes.
Yep.
because they have the money.
well, actually, on the money tier, they actually make the most.
Correct.
They do.
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, in
So
America, they make more than the white man.
Yep.
yeah. So my thing is this. Yeah. We outsource these things, but think about if we had done it the way how they did it.
Yeah.
We
couldn't do
we
it,
ma-
though.
because if we
wrap it
lift up the lower echelon to make serious money, our country will be a lot wealthier and we'll be in a different position.
That's true.
But there's always has to be somebody at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yep.
because
There
that person,
always has to be somebody
but
at
you
the
gotta
bottom.
realize people who run a corporation don't know how to do nothing. Okay,
True.
And
True.
so one thing that and
What they do
we
know
call
how to
we
do
call it
is
white
keep the money.
America. We call it white America, whatever, but one thing that they learned was that if they can put somebody in what they thought was a better situation than previous,
They'll be eternally
then
grateful.
they will offer their services offer services rendered, right?
Yeah.
And that's always been for our time in history. You see, we look at cheap labor. First it was slaves, but when they didn't want to work for free no more and wanted to be paid, they figured out how to find somebody else to do it.
Yep.
You know, and so that's what they're always going to do, and that's what they always will do. We look at civil rights area. When we started bucking and saying something, they did something just to make us feel like they were on our side, so that we
Right.
could forgive them or feel better about them or look at them differently. And so,
or give us a
that's always
facade
gonna be-
that they're doing something for us when they really
and
weren't
so that's
doing
always
it.
going to be the approach. America's is the world's greatest pimp. You know,
Yeah.
That's a good way.
No,
That's
for
a good way
real,
of
they're the
putting it.
world's greatest pimp. You know, they will. I mean, you look at all the situations, the countries we beat up on and came back in and patted them on the butt and said,
Yeah.
"You'll be all right.
Yeah.
We'll help you rebuild, but now we're
You
gonna
still owe us.
put a base here,
Yeah.
and now you're under ours, and we're gonna try to push democracy on you." You know, the ideals of America have always been to poison everybody else besides the American idea.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean. Can't really.
But it's coming home to roost for us too. I'm just saying.
Like, I know
Be-
we're gonna have to eat that karma.
It's the karma is
No,
coming
it's
back.
good. Yeah.
We're gonna have
Oh
to
yeah.
eat that
Yeah.
karma
Yeah.
at some
I just
point.
didn't want to see it. I want to let it see it back.
I mean, I'm like,
I'm about to dig me a bunker. They've been selling them. They sell bunkers right
They
now.
do.
They
I'm
do,
about to
they
buy-
do. But you're not gonna even get the labor to help you dig that hole at this point.
Oh, really? I'm buying a ready built one.
Pre-built.
We can wrap it up here. Thank y'all so much for tuning into a Black Pew podcast. Like, share, subscribe on
See y'all.
all our videos.
guys.
Hit us up
Awesome.
Spotify, iTunes, wherever you hear a podcast, we're there too. So check us out. Give us a like. Share our episodes.
I know y'all
See
hate
y'all next
Marvin.
week. No. See y'all next week. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Later.